What's going on, y'all? Upchurch has an update for us, and I want to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button. Also, subscribe if you haven't. All that good stuff. Like button, everything. Let's get into it.
Dude, I love how they're starting to release all these like podcasts and interviews and documents about these quote unquote entities. And I like how they're correlating it with like energy and like probability and all this stuff, because if you start looking into, what these apparent entities are that are actually being studied by a lot of different important people, you realize, how they say like these things possess people or whatever, and there's like this argument like whether they're demons or angels or Nephilim or pretty much good or bad. Okay, so check it. What if these things naturally, because the only reason we know they exist is through studying energy to a certain extent or to a certain point. We're able to see energy manipulation no matter what. So we know they exist because of that. But I think they've been trying to figure out, one, why they exist or how they exist. But the thing is, you got to split that in half, because these things naturally, authentically existed already. But maybe some scientists along the way figured out what it was. And since it's energy, if these entities were manipulating energy, the scientists maybe took it into their own hands to manipulate energy. So think about this. If these things, how they say, oh, these entities are ancient, right? Okay, well, true, they are. But if these entities are moving freely, like water moves freely, then if water moves freely, it has positive ions in it. If anybody who's like an agricultural person knows, like if you have contained water that's not moving, it has negative ions in it. So the water gets stagnant, bugs get in it, fish can't survive in it, and all this other stuff, right? Okay. Same thing with these entities. If they already are able to freely move around, they're going to do positive things, because they're the energy that's being manipulated. They're doing it themselves. But if a scientist finds out how to do it, well, then the entity that has a job to do things with energy, they're being not only manipulated, contained by the scientist that's manipulating them, which probably pisses them off.
I ain't going front. I do believe that us as humans should probably not try to mess with certain forces. It's not the best idea, right? I don't mess with it. I'm going to just stick to being Team Jesus. And, that's the team that I'm riding with. That's who I'm rocking with out here in these streets, right? But I'm not going to try to solve certain things and you get the answers to stuff that I don't think that we should be knowing. Not meant for us, for humans. I don't think it's meant for us to know. But that is just my opinion. There's a lot of people that might think the opposite. Y'all never heard about the cat that was curious.
Because the world already runs off. Let's look at it as like a bank, right? So the world already runs off its own bank account of energy, right? But along the way, there's people withdrawing, accidentally putting money in and all this other bullshit, right? Okay, well, the entity that's also ran off energy is energy that is set aside to be like the auditor, right? Or the person who evens out the checks and balances. If that thing is moving freely, it can do the checks and balances, but it's being contained by the person. But if it's being contained by the scientist that's already doing a bunch of uneven withdrawals with checks and balances, then the auditor can't do its job. So it's like, what are you doing? But here's another thing. What are you going to do? You can't put handcuffs on an entity. You can't contain it and be like, you're going to listen to us. It can do whatever it wants. So if, let's say a scientist is trying to manipulate this energy that is the entity, and if the entity gets aggravated with the people doing it, Well, they might just, use their energy ability to make unfortunate happen or make the person's life harder, so they stop.
Which would be horrible. And I'm sure there's people that don't want that out here in these streets, right? But once again, there's going to be a lot of people that's a little too damn curious.
Because they can do that. What are you going to do about it? You can't do anything about it. We do good stuff. Now, look, since we're talking about energy, these entities, they don't just... I know everybody's talking about them getting into humans and stuff, but they can get into anything that emits energy. And I'll give you a perfect example. All right, so check it out. In our realm, let's say there's an old lady who fell down on the side of the road, right? There are people who are going to be like, nah, just keep driving. We'll just up. I don't mean to laugh, but that's tough. But there's some people that will pull over and assist that lady, right? These things work, these entities work the same way. You ever heard a story about or a situation where somebody had to be somewhere and they were on their way, but their car miraculously died, their battery died. And they got mad at the time, but later on they found out, dude, this big mega crash happened right down the road from where I was supposed to be. Good thing my car battery died and I wasn't there. Okay, maybe that was the entity doing the same thing like the old lady being on the side of the road and pulling over and picking it up. Maybe it knew that and was like, battery dead for a minute. Which that theoretical sense fits perfectly with the rumor of they say, oh man, these entities drain batteries. Right. But because it's just around observing things. And just so happens there's electrical devices around that have batteries that are real basic and it maybe just drains the batteries. It's like, hey, I need that. Bye, thanks. Don't charge your whatever. I just drained. Bye. So if that's the case, and you have this entity that's moving around freely and it's only doing positive stuff, right? It's not going to do anything to a person or anything that is harmful because it doesn't want to do that to you. It has, I guess, in a sense, like a good conscience, right? So these things have been moving through people. And if the person doesn't understand the quantum physics of what the entity's doing, it'll just use you for the time being and go to somebody else because it doesn't want to harm your body. It doesn't want to confuse you, make you go crazy. So it uses you for a second and then dips out, right? It ain't harming nothing. But what if it gets comfortable with a human that understands it, so it gets comfy with them and just stays in them? And for this energy or entity to do this, a lot of other things would have to happen. Okay, so let's use the government, for example. If the government knew everything I just told you, it would obviously want to monitor this situation to learn about it, right?
Yeah.
If the past administration already knew about this and they could identify these people, they would want to contain those people because they're like, we don't want anyone to find this out because if they do, they'll realize what we've been doing the whole time and they'll uncover.
Yeah, they would try to hide it for damn sure. They will go out their way to try to make sure no one ever knows about that. They'll call it a conspiracy and then try to make it seem as if anyone who speaks on it or who theorizes about it is a crazy person that don't know what they're talking about, who lost their mind. That's what they will try to make it. It's pretty nasty.
Oh, human experiments and all this vaccine. Anyways, but if that entity knew that, because it knows everything, if it knows that it's being watched and there's a government entity now that's interested in it, that doesn't want to contain it, then it would more likely to stay in the human to be observed. So the entity would realize, okay, I'm in this body, I'm in this human that understands, so I'm comfortable here. Nothing neurologically is going to go wrong with this person. This person's like, whatever, I'm cool with it. And if that entity knew that the government was watching said human that it was in, then it would be like, hey, psst, look at this, woo, and do something. They'd be like, whoa. And the government would also be monitoring the person, like, all right, let's see if this guy's like doing, is he like harming himself? Is he whatever the case. If all that worked out perfect, then that is the perfect way for the entity to let the government observe a human so they can collect the data to see what it actually is. And that social experiment, I guess you could say, the government could comfortably get the data they needed. The entity could, in a way that's hard to explain, could give the government confirmation that, hey, we don't harm the earth or society. We fix little parts about it. So then the government would be like, okay. Then the government would also learn, well, what was the problem with last time? What's up with all these like exorcisms and all this shit? The entity would be like, well, people was trying to manipulate me and you guys fired them. So we realized that you're a good guy now and you understand what's going on, kind of. Thanks. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about for now. Remember, tell your friends, Upchurch fell off. He's on. He's crazy, man. He's going insane in a membrane.
So a while back, we couldn't find my Creek Squad necklace anywhere, and I've been looking, and the shop got broken into a while back, so I figured it got stolen. Come to find out, an artist that I have beef with let me know where it was at, so we're about to go get that thing back. Well, look what I got back.
That's crazy.
Hater.
The fact that people would even try to go out the way to do that is super nasty in general. It's foul. It's foul, but I'm glad that you got it back. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment section. Hit the like button. Also, share the video as well. Watch more videos, all that good stuff.